What's up, guys? Sub-Zeric here. I've never done this before. I am so hyped to be able to show this to you guys. I played in the Set 11 playtest, so I am going to give you guys a preview of some of the stuff to come in Set 11. It's going to be live on PBE, I believe on Tuesday they're shooting for, so that'll be absolutely sick. I'm going to be playing on PBE with you guys for sure, so I can give you guys, an idea of what some of the units do, what some of the traits do. I didn't get to play that many playtest games, so there's a lot of stuff I'm still not familiar with. But yeah, I can pause actually real quick here so you can see some more of this stuff in depth, and I can talk through it here. So, first thing that's important for this game is Heavenly. Heavenly is very similar to a trait that we've seen in previous sets, which is Guild. You know, where each unit has their own Heavenly bonus or guild bonus that they give to your entire team. So, like, for example, I have Soraka here. Soraka gives your entire team AP, and then the more you have, the more bonus you get. And the thing that's interesting for Heavenly is the more star level you get, you also give more. So it's like kind of like a reroll / guild type trait, which is really cool. Altruist is a pretty cool trait. It's kind of like one of those like splash defensive traits that gives your entire team RMR. And they also heal their lowest health ally for % damage that they deal, which is pretty wild. Bard here is a mythic trick shot. Trick shots, their abilities like bounce to other units, so it's, you know, it's like a trick shot, boom, pow. And then mythic, I don't know if I hover over this, but mythic is one of those traits similar to traits in the past where if you put the units in for multiple rounds, I think it's after 4 rounds, they sort of like evolve and get stronger. Exalted, I want to talk about as well, is something crazy. This is a trait that doesn't have units. The units change every game. So this game, Sivir, Janna, Shen, Volibear, and Nautilus are the Exalted units. So really, really cool, where there's different units that are Exalted every game. It's so wild. It allows you to cook in so many different ways, because each game you're saying, okay, what are my units that are Exalted? What can I actually play around? It is some wild stuff. We're in, I think this is Scuttle Puddle. I am actually gonna, I thought maybe I wasn't going to speed it up, but honestly, it's fine. I can do 2x speed, because I can just pause when the important stuff comes up. But you see here, I have a 3 Heavenly board here. I have Altruist in. Behemoth is a new tank trait here, so they gain increased armor and MR, and when they die, the nearest Behemoth gains more of that. So like, it's like a tank trait, but you like give tank to the tank sets the other guys. And Reapers are pretty interesting. It's kind of one of those like spell crit traits where their ability can spell crit. It's almost like, what was the, like rogues in the past, where if you do 4, they bleed enemies. So pretty cool. And you have Kha'Zix, who is like, you know, kind of like an assassin type guy in that trait. So yeah, this playtest was a ton of fun. There's some crazy stuff in this playtest, and I will show it off to you guys. As well as a whole new set mechanic, which we haven't even got to yet. There's this call to adventure, which is cool, which plays around story weavers, which I'll have a video coming out about that. But I pick up the Heavenly Crest. Another crest seems really, really good. And I get to pick up Nico, who's another Heavenly unit here. I do want to get Behemoth in, so I just get the Heavenly Crest down onto the Thresh. The other thing that I will say is I definitely did not play optimally during the playtest. It's very, very difficult when you don't know what any of the traits do. This is Soraka's ability, which you'll see where she basically does her E from League of Legends, where she like silences the board. She also gains AP as the fight goes on, as your units die. That unit there, by the way, that's a Loon, which if you guys haven't played League, that's like Aphelios' sister. That's like the spirit thing. She has a crazy ability where she hits your row with the most HP in it, and she buffs her entire back row. This unit was crazy broken in the playtest. She was doing so much damage and buffing her team, but a really, really cool unit. And now here is the set mechanic. You see this really, really cool animation here. At different points during the game, you get, it's almost like a galaxy effect, where you get just something cool happen. So this is Shen. This is one of the Shen encounters. Shen offers you a starter pack containing champions and 1 component. So here I have Behemoth in. I say, you know what? I'll pick up the Behemoth starter pack here, and I get a Cho'Gath 2, and I get this Thresh 2 off of the minion, the one in shop and the one that I already had. So now I have Thresh 2 on my board, which is fantastic. So this is like a really, really cool way to add some more sort of like diversity, some more crazy stuff to the game, where, you know, like we have that encounter, and now everyone gets that encounter. It's the same thing as a portal, but it's just in the middle of a game, which allows a lot of extra things to happen. So you can give people, there's some that like give items that only last for a few rounds. So like you get it at like 3-2, and then you lose those items later in the game. So it's a really, really interesting kind of like sort of like twist on portals. And it's a really, really solid set mechanic, because I feel like it doesn't it doesn't like take over the game like something like Legends did or like Dragons did. It's just a really like nice thematic little set mechanic that adds just a little sprinkle to the game. And that's all TFT needs at this point, right? We've got portals, we've got augments, we have a lot of stuff added to TFT. Just a little sprinkle is really, really nice. And I love the sprinkle so far is beautiful. There are some crazy encounters, by the way, is what they're called. They can happen on carousel as well. I don't know if we'll see one this game, but it's wild. It is very, very wild. So we go carousel here. I'm going to pick up, I don't know what I pick up here, a belt here, because I want some items onto Thresh 2. Thresh 2 is Thresh 2. Thresh is interesting where he like shields an ally. Like he does his lantern basically. But yeah, like he shields an ally and then does something. He does like damage around them or something like that, I think. Once again, I only had this account for a few days to play on. And I was still co-streaming Worlds for some of these days. And the accounts got like bugged out and they weren't available for a day. So I didn't get to play that many games overall, but I still got to play enough games to get a sense for the set, to get an idea for what like the units do, what the traits are. So it's absolutely really, really cool. I'm still thinking about, I mean, I guess you guys will know at this point whether I put it out or not, but I'm still thinking about if I want to do like a primer video about just like, you know, set 11 rundown, all the traits, that kind of stuff. Because like I'm not the kind of guy to like make really, really beautiful graphics and stuff, and I don't know if Riot has any pretty graphics. I'll see if they have pretty graphics. If they do, then maybe I'll just go through all the traits, talk about them. But I'm not editing a 20-minute video of like, here's Heavenly, ooh, here's some Heavenly units. This is what like, come on, man. To being a come on, man, I end up losing this fight. Oh, there's a cool unit in my shop there. We can actually go back and look at it, which is Kobuko, a unit that doesn't exist in TFT, but they wanted a kind of like Yordle tank unit, so they made this Kobuko one-cost unit. It was a bruiser, tanky Fortune unit. Fortune is back, by the way. I didn't really play when Fortune actually existed, so I don't know if it's the same as it was before, but I think it might be slightly different. I'm not sure. But Kobuko is like a tank unit that cares about your econ. All the econ that you accumulate gets converted into HP for him. Like for every gold of interest you get, he gets extra HP, which is really, really cool. Got a gold lord here with some gold in it, and I am like giga rich here. I find Kaisa, who's an AD carry. I gotta say, I really didn't get to play around her that much, and I'm thinking more around playing AP this game, I think. We'll see what I end up actually going this game. But yeah, I'm not really looking at Kaisa here. I don't have any Ink Shadow units or any trick shots. Ink Shadow is kind of a cool take on like Zaun, where they give your units items for how many Ink Shadows you have in. But the cool thing is that the Zaun mods, or the Ink Shadow items, can go on anyone. They can go on, your regular units as well. So it could be a cool, like, sort of support trait where you play it. I mean, boring augments here. I don't think. Do I see any new silvers? I see Blood Bank, which is a pretty cool augment. I end up picking this up here. Every 8 damage you deal enemy tacticians gives you 2 gold. So, like I say, I have a lot of gold here. I have a pretty strong board. I can just level really aggressively here and play my strongest board, which is like Arcanist here. I roll once and find Azir, who is a new 5 cost. This is a really, really cool 5 cost. So you'll see his spell, but he fires a beam, deals a bunch of magic damage to enemies in the path of the beam, and then summons a Sand Soldier with 1100 HP. So he's like an AP carry, but he's also like summons tankiness for you. It's kind of like everything you could ever want, right? He's frontline and he's backline, which is really, really wild. I'd love to actually move these items off Soraka onto him, but then I would lose Soraka. I would lose my 6 Heavenly, which I don't want to lose here. So you can see Azir cast here. He goes bzz, does the beam, and then summons a Sand Soldier, which is really, really cool. A really, really dope 5 cost this set. So I'm hyped for that. Once again, talking about how broken this Elune unit is. She just kills my entire board, man. She thinks that was Elune 1 and she leveled 6.3k. Look, it's early. You can see it down here, the WIP. Like it's certainly work in progress. There is still a lot of changes. Probably like by the time this hits PB, some stuff will be completely different, I'm sure. But this Elune unit, I lost so many fights. This Elune unit just one-tapping my board. I was so pissed because, like, come on, man. This Kha'Zix ends up wrapping to my backline, which hurts. He is kind of like the assassin type guy who, he can jump, I believe. He jumps to like the lowest health enemy closest to him, but it's just he was on all the lowest health enemies, so he didn't need to jump. Oh, also Dryad is another trait here that you could see on Azir. Dryad's a cool, like tankiness trait where you stack it up across the game. So it gives all your Dryad units AP and health, and then that HP stacks up for every unit that you kill permanently for all Dryad units. So if you get Dryad in early game, you're stacking up HP, and then by the time you get to late game, your Dryad like tanks have a ton of extra tank stats, which is really, really cool. I want to roll here a little bit on 7 because I wanted to just make my board stronger for Blood Bank, and I had a lot of really good pairs here. I had the Soraka pair, I had the Kiana pair, so I thought I'd roll a little bit here. Managed to find Soraka too, who's going to be nice, and then these are just going to be a cool 5 cost on my board, who's going to summon the Sand Soldiers. I feel like that's really good value to just summon an 1100 HP unit. But like I said, I mean, nobody knows about this set. I probably should have an Elune on my board because this Elune unit's broken, but it's, you know, it's whatever. Did I mention Elune? She shreds as well. She MR shreds. She's the full package, man. This unit is a beast here. But yeah, I'm just looking to go fast 8, potentially fast 9 in this position, play around Vertical Heavenly with a ton of units, and have a really, really cool board. I mean, that seems good to me. And I can then, if I do that, show you some of these really, really cool 5 costs that exist in this set. You've already seen Azir, but there is so much more to show. There's so much cool stuff. Also, sorry that I didn't capture game audio. I thought about it, but then I like wanted to play music and like chill, and like I can't be playing my music back again, so no game audio for you guys. But the game audio is really nice. The units have really, really good sounds. The encounters have really cool sound effects with them, so it's dope. It's wonderful, man. I mean, they knocked it out of the park. I really, really enjoyed the playtest, and like I honestly just wanted to playtest even more. I just like had stuff to do, which really, really sucked. I wish I could have just sat in my room all day and played in the playtest, but you can see some more units. I'm not gonna be able to talk about every single unit here. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I definitely can't cover every synergy, but you know, across all the videos that I put out, I will talk about these synergies, and yeah. We end up going for GS Guard Breaker here. Just like solid damage items. We obviously can't go like red buff here, so GS is what made sense to me. And then Guard Breaker is the other one that made sense with just a TG onto frontline. I put Orin into my planner because he is the Dryad frontliner. So, and he's also a Behemoth, I think. So I'm thinking like, okay, that would be a really, really reasonable frontliner to pivot into here. Once again, we fight in a Loon here. She kills my whole board. You know, it's whatever. I see here Inspiring Epitaph, which is just a solid, you know, augment. Gonna level for Orin here, pivot into this board, and roll a little bit here just to try to upgrade my board. Honestly, one thing I realized, especially after I hit this Lux, one thing I realized playing in this playtest is that Fast 9 felt really, really good, and what felt really bad is actually rolling a lot on 8. I bought forward a lot of games in this playtest. I did not play that well, I'll be real. And I felt like all my games where I top 4 were games just like this, where I stabilized enough on 8 and then pushed 9. And I know it's in-house, you know, meta. There are going to be a lot of people playing Fast 9 because people aren't playing their strongest boards and stuff like that. But I just really felt like the value of rolling 8 is quite low right now, and I don't know if they'll change that. I think it's due to the fact that they changed, you know, like your odds of hitting with the new sort of like econ system, your odds of hitting a 4-cost on 8 are pretty low, 18%. And so if you want to hit a 2-star 4-cost, you kind of have to go 9. Like 8 is really not the 4-cost rolling level. You know, it was that in set 10 because we could find headliners, right? But without the ability to find headliners, it's actually really hard to play around 4-costs on 8. So I don't know if that's something they're going to change or if that's just how the set's going to be, where you kind of like have to go 9 to play around 4-costs. It would be an interesting change up from the, you know, like go 8 and roll type of you know meta that we have been in. But look at this. This is another encounter. Hui makes the entire carousel 5 cost, so I'm going to pick up a second Azir. You can see a preview of a lot of the 5 costs here. You see Zaya and Rakan. Hui, the new League champion. If you guys you know aren't updated to League, because I'm not really. I've never played a game of Hui. But yeah, he's pretty cool. You'll see when we I don't know if we get to play around Hui this game, but he's very, very cool. We also have Lilia in. I was hovering over there when I am in love with Lilia, and I am not talking. I'm talking about in game. Like this unit is so like she's just if you played in I think it was set 6 with Renata Glask. She has very, very Renata Glask vibes with the way her ability works, where she hits a lot of units. I think you absolutely want like a Morello's or a red buff on her. I think Morello Gunblade is really, really nice. She's a damage over time mage that hits like basically the entire board with appropriate positioning. She's really, really cool. So you'll see. I don't know if we end up playing around her this game, but I have at least one game where I play around Lilia that I can show you guys for sure. We're fighting Story Weaver, I think is what it's called. Story something. I think it's Story Weaver, which summons this Kale you can see with items. This is the summoner trader for this set, which is really, really cool. It summons the Kale, and then you get to pick the items. You get to choose the story. So that Kale there, they had the red starting one, and then blue middle one, and then blue final one. So you get to pick different items basically that go onto Kayle that either like make it so that she buffs your team. Like there's one that makes her just shred on her abilities. There's one that makes her give your adjacent units attack speed, and one that gives adjacent units AP, I think. But yeah, she's really, really cool. You can kind of like build your own carry, which is really, really dope. But as you can see here, Giga Rich here. I don't know. Yeah, I just go 9 here because I'm so rich, and I just want to find my board here. I end up picking up Irelia, who is a new 5 cost, which is really cool. Syndra 2 as well, though I end up like saying like, why did I even build this Syndra? I don't think she's very good. Lysandra, who's a Porcelain Arcanist. Porcelains, after they cast, they get extra attack speed and damage reduction. And Lysandra is like the Kiana or the Tahm Kench of this set. She's giga broken on playtest here, where you could see that little teapot. She puts units in a teapot, and then if they die, she does the Kiana/Tahm Kench effect, where she gives you an item. She seemed really, really overtuned on PvE, where she would just like always farm you items. I put Xayah onto this board here, and as you can see, you swap Xayah to frontline and backline, and she becomes Rakan versus Xayah, and then the other one sort of like assists. So like you put Xayah on the back 2 rows, she's Xayah. You put it on the front 2 rows, it becomes Rakan. Really, really cool stuff. And then I think we also found a Wukong that we put in here, I believe, who is Heavenly, so that he's the 5 cost Heavenly, so you want to play that on your board. Did we put him in? I think we did. He's a really cool unit where he's kind of got like a 3-part cast, where he casts and he slams his thing down. He casts again, and then he like does a stun. I think he does the round around, and then his 3rd cast he does a huge slam. And then I believe his unique trait, Great. The idea is that every time he does a rotation, he increases the length of his staff, which makes all of his abilities better. So he like kind of scales up across the game, which is wild. Also, Lysandra farms me a spatula here. So now I just have a Heavenly Spat for free, which is pretty wild here. You can see though that even though my board is capped out, like this playtest, I don't know why it was so hard. There's so many like strong players, I get, because you know, like the people in the playtest, it's like, you know, like influencers / like pro players. And then it's like media people, and I don't know, I felt like every person I was playing against was a pro player, man. People were so good in this play. Like, I thought my board was pretty solid, but like I'm losing a lot of these fights. I get Rakan in here for Ultras. Rakan has a really, really strong ability, which is that he dashes to the biggest clump. He does his, like, what is that, W from League? But he does a lot of magic damage. Look at the damage this Rakan does here. Boom, just like 1-taps a bunch of units. Another cast there, boom. Like, check out how much damage. I mean, Azir is obviously going to do a lot here, but yeah, Rakan dealt 6.6k. So he's like CC frontline a little bit, but he's also just like an AP damage dealer. I don't know, once again, what his final form will be. Maybe he'll end up more as like a tanky frontliner that's just a CC bot with less damage. But right now, this Rakan unit does a ton of damage. So yeah, at this point, I'm just playing kind of a Mr. 100 Heavenly board, buffing my entire board with Heavenly. Orin's another cool unit that I didn't talk about yet, where he does this cast, and then he gives one of your units, you see there, that redemption that I got, he gives your unit an ephemeral item, so it's like one of those items that only stays during the round. Similar to like Kiana of this set, except, you know, like he can't farm real items. But yeah, I mean, that's I think most of the cool stuff I want to talk about here. I mean, let me, once again, there, you know, there's Ghostly, Sage, Mythic I talked about, Umbral in my shop, all stuff that we can definitely talk about in future videos for sure. But you know, we'll get to that when we get to that. I'm pretty sure I messed this up. I probably should have just gone Stair-X on Wukong, but I wanted healing on him. But now I have to make Stair-X on my Lysandra. I mean, this was pretty troll. Like I said, I was giga dizzy during this playtest because there's so much stuff to do and so many units. I'm like trying to figure out what units actually like fit on my board and like what the 5 costs even are, what items they want. It's too tough, man. But I think this game we put together a pretty strong board, helped by the fact that Lysandra is so broken. And Azir is also a beast, but look at that. We just farmed 2 components. Like, the other crazy thing about Lysandra is that she's like Tahm Kench in that she like farms items, but Tahm Kench, he was a melee unit, right? He had to walk to the front line to actually farm it. Lysandra's ranged, so she can kind of sit in the back line and farm units. I don't think we've ever had, or farm items. I don't think we've ever had an item farmer type champion who does this, where they sit in the back and farm all these items, which, I mean, it's very strong, I will say. Like I said, probably a little bit too strong, but once again, it's playtest, which is pre-PvE, which is pre-live. Like, a lot of this stuff will get changed before it goes live for sure. So like the stuff that's broken now will not be broken forever. I have to level here because I'm getting kind of low. I opt to level for Diana, who's a dragon, what is it? Dragon Caller, maybe? Dragon Lord Sage. I guess I will talk about Sage. Sage is kind of like strategist. If you guys played, what was that? Set 9? set 8, set 9, set 9, I think, where units in the front 2 rows get a bonus and units in the back 2 rows get the bonus. Back 2 rows get AP, front 2 rows get Omnivamp, which is pretty cool. And then Dragon Lord is kind of a take on like Tempest, where after 8 seconds, the dragon strikes the board. It deals % HP damage to the enemies and gives your entire team increased attack speed. So a pretty nice little like splash if you're going for like longer fights that buffs up your entire team and hurts the entire enemy team. Pretty cool stuff. But yeah, you can see at this point, I'm just running out of units to itemize here. I'm putting items on this random Kiana too, which is not a very good unit to itemize here. But like, I don't know how I can fit units in. I want to keep my 7 Heavenly in for the big bonus. Maybe I should have just started cutting Heavenly units and like playing 5 costs, but then you lose the entire like Heavenly bonus for that. You know, like if I cut my HP Heavenly unit, then I lose HP on all my units, which like I feels like it kind of sucks. And hey, the board did pretty well, I would say, but I mean, I don't know what the max cap would be. We're fighting a Soraka reroll player there, which is pretty cool. I, of course, I think I've talked about this before. In regular league, I played a lot of Soraka. I was a Soraka main, so love to see her in TFT. I always love Soraka. And this skin is too cool. I don't think I have this skin in real league. I thought about getting Udyr in, who's a behemoth. He's a really cool unit. His unique trait is when he drops below, I think it's 50% HP, he basically heals back up. So he gets like kind of like an Edge of Night, but like kind of like a GA type effect maybe in the past, where he like heals himself. Maybe that was Oxforce. I think that was what Oxforce ended up eventually being, where you drop them low and they heal back up. Or they got like a shield, but he heals himself back up and then he like changes his ability to, he changes stance. You know, he's in like his defensive stance and then he changes into his bop 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 stance. So cool stuff. A lot of cool shit. I can't wait to play this set with you guys, to play more of it on PBE and some viewer lobbies. I love a new TFT set. I'm so hyped, and I'm so thankful to Riot for letting me play in this playtest, because I've always wanted to play in one of these playtests and like get the new set and like be able to see it before everybody else, and then like, oh, I can't talk about it. Ooh, you know, like there are so many times this weekend where I've been co-streaming with people and I've been like, oh, that reminds me of this thing from playtest. I mean, I didn't say it, but in my head I was like, that reminds me of something from the playtest. But I'm like, well, I can't say that because, you know, it was the playtest. Look how big my Wukong's ult is, by the way. You can see that that scaling effect there. But yeah, it was a first place for me in the playtest. Hope you guys enjoyed checking out the playtest. I'm gonna have some more videos from this. PBE, like I said, drops on Tuesday, so I'll be streaming then, PBE, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.